you think? You hungry?
Yep, looks good.
Time to chow down. So I got the hash browns, bacon, homemade bread, grits, looks like buttery, maybe cheese grits. You got bacon, cheese grits, toast, some kind of jelly.
Strawberry jelly.
Maybe strawberry jelly. There's a lot of homemade things here in this cafe. Looks delicious. Let's get started. I love the verses on the napkin holders. In the world you will have trouble, but take heart, I've overcome the world. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us on Faded and Forgotten History. We are in Abbeville County, South Carolina. We just finished having breakfast at the Cold Springs Cafe in the Cold Springs community right outside of the city of Abbeville, and it was delicious. We had a great breakfast. A lot of the baked goods and items are made by the local Mennonite women in that community. And now we're heading on our history hunt. We are going to head toward McCormick County to the French Huguenot place of worship. I've read a lot about the French Huguenots, and they're very interesting, the story behind their journey to South Carolina in the 1700s. So stick around. If you like our video, make sure you like and subscribe and leave a comment. We love all the wonderful comments that we get. It really inspires us to keep doing what we're doing. So thanks for joining us. So we're coming to an intersection where the John de la Howe School is. It's called now the South Carolina Governor's School for Agriculture, and it was started by a French Huguenot. There's a historical marker. Why don't we pull over and we can read that closer? Dr. John de la Howe, a French physician, came to South Carolina in 1764 and settled in the New Bordeaux community by the 1780s. His will left most of his estate, including Leith Plantation, to the Agricultural Society of South Carolina to establish a home and school for underprivileged children. The Leith Agricultural Seminary was founded here after de la Howe's death in 1797. So right here at the sign that leads us to the side of the Huguenot place of worship is the historical landmark sign about New Bordeaux. 1764, the town of New Bordeaux, the last of 7 French Huguenot colonies founded in colonial South Carolina and the only one in the upcountry, was established 1 mile east in 1764. After Protestants fleeing religious persecution in France petitioned the British Crown for land to create a permanent settlement in South Carolina, they received a 28,000 acre grant in the newly formed Hillsborough Township. And this is called the French Huguenot Parkway, right? Okay, so we're turning left where it says worship site. And it turns into this gravel road. And the woods are so beautiful here. And this road leads down toward Clark's Hill Lake. The Huguenots lived all in this area. We made it to the end of the gravel road, and it is so peaceful out here. It's a nice, breezy, cool day. What we see today would have once been a village of homes. So they left everything they knew, and they came to America through Charleston, traveled to the upstate, had a lot of dangers along the way. It is said when they got here that they just knelt down and kissed the ground because they were so glad and thankful to be here. They established the Huguenot church at this place that they named New Bordeaux, and it's sat up here where we're heading, where this marker is. We're right here on the shores of Clarks Hill Lake, or Lake Thurman. Erected AD 1937 by the Huguenot Society of South Carolina. In the place, they did not want it to be forgotten that this was where the Huguenots built their place of worship and where they once lived and existed. There were 200 of them that came on that initial journey as immigrants to America. And on this side, it says, site of the place of worship of the French Protestant congregation of New Bordeaux, organized 1764, which was the year they arrived. You can hear the wind blowing, a little breeze. Just a beautiful day. Mm-hmm. I brought my tablet because there's so many interesting things about the French Huguenots. I've read books about them, articles online. It's just hard to keep it all straight. But they did come here in 1764 to escape religious persecution in France. And they were led by the Reverend Jean-Louis Gibert. He brought them here. He was a hero in my mind. Went through a lot of persecution himself, but was set on getting these people here so they could worship in freedom. They came through Charleston, South Carolina, traveled all through our state until they got here, where Patrick Calhoun had laid out their village for them in half-acre lots. So each person built on their lot. They also had vineyards where they produced wine that was known worldwide. They had cocoons for silk. They had olive trees, lots of different ways that they were able to sustain themselves. And here where this marker is was where their place of worship was. It was a log cabin that stood here. But Reverend Gibert died, or Gibert, there's pronounced a lot of different ways, but Reverend Gibert died in 1773. He actually ate poisonous mushrooms. And so his son-in-law, St. Pierre Bouteton, I think it is, and I may be saying these names wrong. I'm trying my best. He was killed in battle during an expedition against the Cherokees in 1776. By the 1790s, all of this was just a ghost town. It was no longer in existence. So the only thing still in existence today that we know of is the Guillebeau House, and the rest of it is either under the water once the lake was built, or is just no longer here. There was a lot of men who left the French Huguenot Society that fought in the Revolutionary War, but after that point, everything just kind of died out, and now French Huguenot descendants still exist, but the village itself is no longer here. Now we're traveling down the road just a small distance and turning into the Savannah Lakes Village. And in this neighborhood is another special spot that's significant to the French Huguenots. It is the grave of a man named Pierre Moragne, and he was one of the very first French Huguenots that came on that initial journey. And as you pull into this little area in front of this house, there's Pierre Moragne's grave, and I'm seeing a spider. Yeah, I'm glad I saw that before I walked through it. He's not too happy that I'm there either. But, yep, there he is. We've seen a lot of spiders today in our journey. So I'll just head on this direction over a little bit. But this is Pierre Moragne's grave. It actually used to be surrounded by fields. This was part of his plantation or his land that he owned. He was significant in that he actually kept a journal during their journey to America. So a lot of what we know about the French Huguenots' journey came from his journals. Unfortunately, many of them lost in time. He was one of the first founding people of the colony, helped found it, and was chosen as their minister in 1773. In 2001, the McCormick County Historical Society placed this marker to help preserve his memory. Now we're traveling just a short distance down the road to Badwell Cemetery. This also is a significant place for the French Huguenot history. This is the place where Jean-Louis Gibert is actually buried, and we think it is important to pay our respects to him. So we're going to go to this cemetery. When we were here, maybe right after Hurricane Helene, there was a lot of damage here, so we're going to take a look at the cemetery and see how things are now. We're walking down this trail toward the Badwell Cemetery, which is really on the banks overlooking Buffalo Creek, which is part of Clarks Hill Lake. And we're not very far from the Huguenot place of worship. Now there is an old tale that says this is haunted by a troll, which I have never seen one. Have you, Daddy? We've never seen a troll here, and we haven't looked for one. We don't plan on it. And we do know that this door here used to have, I think it was some type of, I don't know, Grim Reaper or something that was on here, but it was stolen. And so this door is just in its place. And you can, when we were here the first time we ever came, this was already open, damage was done, the rocks were pulled out, but then we came back after Hurricane Helene, and a tree had uprooted and totally destroyed this wall here. And this is a very unkept cemetery. It would be so wonderful to see it fixed back up, but people do come here occasionally. And in this cemetery are the Pettigrews and the Giberts, like this is Mrs. Jane Gibert North, widow of John Cough North, Esquire, and daughter of William and Louise Pettigrew. I have a hard time with the names Louis and Louis and Louise. Yes, so Gibert. Depends on who says it and how you say it.
Well, we would call it Gibert. I bet they call it Gibert.
Yeah, if you're French, you say it a little different. So when we were at the French Huguenot place of worship, we were talking about the Reverend Gibert, and he's the one who brought the French Huguenots over to America. And he was born near, and I'm not even sure how to say this, Alais in Languedoc, 22nd of July, 1722, and died on August 1773 from eating those poisonous mushrooms. But he did much for the French Huguenot people to get them to a place where they could worship in freedom. And there's a lot of poison ivy growing on this one. I believe this probably tells the story of it. It's very difficult to read. This is the wall that was toppled over when that tree fell. Yeah, the tree roots just pulled the wall up. Who knows what's living in there? But I bet it's not a troll. And then unfortunately, these graves were affected And this was, I'm not sure, but they were born 1830 and died November 2nd, 1855. So sad.
This is Louise Gilbert Alston.
Louise Gilbert Alston, third daughter of R.F.W. Alston and Adele, his wife, born in 1842 and died in 1843, so a 1-year-old there. Another daughter, J.B. and M.N. Alston, 1860 to 1862. It is well with the child, it says. Now, I like this. Somebody's put a placard here to the memory of William Pettigrew, born in Lunenburg County, Virginia, 26th of February, 1758, died the 23rd of January, 1837. Here, somebody's been here placing a lot of these flowers. So it does get visited occasionally. John Joseph, son of the Reverend Jean Louis Gilbert. So that is Reverend Gilbert's son. This one in bad need of repair, but at least it's all laying here. Mrs. Mary Ann Pettigrew. This is Thomas Pettigrew, U.S.N. Commander, born the 1st of June, 1793, died the 6th of March, 1857. It's a beautiful monument. Yep. Yes.
He's a rebel.
It's a rebel wizard. Captain Joseph Blythe Alston, born in Georgetown, South Carolina, February the 8th, 1833, a true poet and a gallant soldier in the War for Southern Independence, died January 29th, 1904, honored by all who knew him. Caroline Francis, daughter of J.B. and M.N. Alston, September 12, 1869, through February 28, 1896, beloved of all who knew her. It's hard to believe that a man like Reverend Gilbert did so much for his people in the 1760s and was mourned by so many of the French Huguenots, and now today his grave just stands here, really forgotten, definitely faded, forgotten by most in this sad cemetery. And he really was willing to give his life for his French Huguenot people to make sure they got to a place where they could worship freely. So we're going to go back this way, see who these two were. William Guilford Alston, 1903 to 1905, a lovely and charming child of such is the kingdom of heaven. Just 2 years old. And this one I can't see. Can you? Augusta McIntosh, wife of Joseph North Alston. March 13th, 1875 to August 2nd, 1913. And then some of those. This is some of the blocks that were taken from the wall. I think they've talked about vandalism, where people would try and come and take the wall apart, which is awful. And then back in here, right outside of the cemetery, is this particular marker, which is very interesting, called Daddy Tom, a faithful servant and honest, departed this life the 9th of February, 1857, born on this place before 1776. A kindly temper, a cheerful obedience, and willingness to work consolated the regard of those who treated him in his lifetime as a friend and caused him, when he died, to be buried like a Christian. So he was actually one of the enslaved on this plantation, but was buried here beside their cemetery. Yes, there are. This is the lake down here. Wow. It is overflowing from the recent rains all the way up in here. That up on this hillside are a lot of graves that are down this little path up here. And the first time we came, we weren't sure who these graves might be, but I had read since then that when they built Clarks Hill Lake, they moved a lot of the graves from the area where the lake would fill up into this area. And they are literally everywhere. I don't know how many there are, but their names have long since faded. Now this one has a marker. Jenny Martin, born 1875. And so there's some Martins here. Molly Martin, born October 30th, 1871. Across here at all. Every time you see a little silver sign, that is where somebody was buried. And their name was once there. And just rows of them. All back in there. Even back into that back row. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, 5 rows. I see another row down there. All right. And Robert's signaling me over here, so let's see what it is. Oh, a geocache box. Okay.
What do you do about it?
Well, people who geocache, they try and find these boxes. They have coordinates that they follow. Mm-hmm. They find these boxes, open them up. I've never geocached, so I'm just going by what I think I've been told. Look at the items that are inside, leave an item of their own if they want, close it back up and leave. But the fun is in the hunt. Like the fun is trying to find the box. So this is the second one we've stumbled across. One was at the French Huguenot place of worship probably, 15 years ago? And this one is today. So we'll leave it undisturbed since we're not geocachers, but maybe we should be, because we find them not even looking for them. And these historical places are good places to hide them. So as you can tell from our journey today, there's a lot of history surrounding the French Huguenots. If you want to know more about their history, you can check out this book called The Huguenots of New Bordeaux. It was written by my friend Bobby Edmonds, who is a historian in the Abbeville, McCormick, Greenwood area. He has a wealth of information and a lifetime of history hunting and appreciating the past. So check this book out. He gave me this copy, but I think it's also for sale in the Wellington bookstore or perhaps Amazon. But it's called The Huguenots of New Bordeaux. Thank you for joining us on our journey today. Hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure you like and subscribe if you like this video and want to see more like it. And leave us a comment. Let us know how we're doing, or if you have any suggestions on places we could visit in upstate South Carolina or Georgia. Thanks and have a great day.